Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market, let's talk about what has happened today, what we can expect moving forward, and all of that good stuff as per usual. So as per usual, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live. That link, of course, is down below. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. Just for $2.99 a month, you get access to all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, technical analysis, options, flows, etc. on Tesla and sometimes other stocks as well, but mainly Tesla, of course. And then for $4.99, you get access to all that, plus also NVIDIA daily updates as well. Links are down below. Would love to have you there. But jumping into a Tesla closing the day down almost 2% on the day, closing at just above $209 per share, which unfortunately compared to the market is going to be yet another underperformance for Tesla stock. I mean, it's kind of just a normal thing nowadays now, isn't it? Now, let's talk about this, right? What can we expect moving forward? And well, really, what just happened today? Well, let's go on the 1 hour chart and start things off here, right? 1 hour chart, pretty much, we talked yesterday how we kind of broke down below this little trend line here, this green trend line, right? And then, we came up today to retest it, came up to my 214, 215 range to retest that range as well. And both of them rejected pretty aggressively, right? The morning did actually have a decent pump. I actually took a screenshot of it. I was talking to my members about it. It should be like I think it was like literally the first post today. And this one here, it was a screenshot this morning. I was telling members about how, today shows less favor of trend lines. I was slicing through blah, 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 blah. But however, Tesla is pumping into the 214, 215 resistance zone this morning. Important level for Tesla, not only to recapture, but hold as well on a potential recapture. If this zone proves to be too much resistance, I will expect 207-ish next. And that's exactly what we got. That's literally what we got. We got massive rejection and we pretty much came straight down within the first hour, almost exactly to my 207 level. The low of the day was 206.95. I mean, man, that is, hey, that's what I provide in the members Discord, or not Discord, the YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. Just $3 a month. But no, but for all seriousness aside, or no, all jokes aside and all seriousness focused here, this move down came down right to my main level. Right now, I do want to make it clear, I do still think that there is potentially more weakness ahead. I don't think Tesla's completely out of the woodworks just yet. In fact, I do believe that there is still potential to even go as low as about 203 roughly, right? That is still a very real possibility. So I just want to make that very, very clear. So, make sure you understand that. But as long as pretty much anywhere between roughly where we are literally right now to as low as about 203-ish, right? As long as that holds, I think Tesla is actually going to be setting up for a potential nice little bounce coming up, right? And the reason I have to say that is because, well, again, let's look at the daily chart actually really quickly, right? So remember when we had this massive drop right over here and then we unfortunately gapped well below, and that was pretty much when the market crashed, to be fair, but the market crashed and we gapped well below, and then we kind of had this whole situation happen here, then we finally went back up, right? Anyway, the reason I bring this up is because this candle before that market crash on the Friday candle is kind of the candle I expected to see today, but on that day back then, right? This was what, Friday, August 2nd, right? So the reason is because, this area is supposed to be a pretty decent area of support and resistance. If I could literally just extend this all the way out like this, right? And, it kind of shows you just how much, support there, or resistance really, but in this case support, there is on this level. Many times before acted as massive support all the way back here. I could probably extend it even more, right? We can literally extend it all the way back here if we really want to, right? The idea is the fact that this area has acted as a pretty powerful support and resistance in the past multiple times, right? Massive area of support here, even probably all the way back there. Massive area of support here, then resistance, then some support, resistance, a little bit of resistance here, a little bit of resistance here, some support, right? It's a pretty important area, right? I would argue it's even more important than 200 itself, but nonetheless, right? This is why this candle back here could have been what today hopefully or will be, right? This area should be a strong area of support. Now, it can go as low as 203. Like I said, 203, it can definitely happen, right? Because that kind of aligns a little bit more with, for instance, this resistance point down here, which was about 203, or this little area here that we did get resisted at a few times when, we had that massive rally post-market crash, essentially, not too long ago now, right? So we can go a little bit lower. But the thing I see moving forward, regardless, as long as we pretty much don't go, let's just say, to make it simple, below 200, right, is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? This is what I currently foresee building up on Tesla stock, right? We of course have, all the way from up here, we had a massive rally, cool, but now we have, a massive downtrend, and we had the left shoulder right here, we had the head right here, and now we're currently setting up that right shoulder. And again, my rule of thumb for head and shoulder patterns might be just a general rule of thumb, honestly, but just whether or not it is, what I don't like to see in a head and shoulders pattern is I don't like to see a shoulder go into the territory of the head, right? So in this case, the territory of the head, you can argue mainly is about, this kind of 203 and lower, right? 203 to like what, really like this 190 range roughly, we'll say, right? So I don't want to see the right shoulder potential setup here go a breach into the territory of where the head's main price action is, which again is pretty much 203 and lower. So that's why I don't want to lose like pretty much $200 per share, to make it really, really simple. I don't want to lose that. I want to hold that. That's been pretty important for me to set up this, pattern, right? And as long as we could do that, I think Tesla can actually get a nice little rally. And as long as we can recapture 214, 215, I think ultimately moving back up all the way up into the 230s, some point, maybe within a few weeks, is a possibility. I definitely think that's a very real possibility, right? We have the 1 hour flip on the stochastic here, which is nice to see. So some potential bullish momentum setting up short term, which is always a potential nice thing to see. Now, if we do lose this range, right? If we do lose 203, if we do lose that 200 range, right? And we do go below that, and we do break up this inverted head and shoulders pattern, well, things will get obviously, a little bit uglier, right? And that's when, I would start to expect us to probably ultimately come back down for potential 190s to as low as probably 180 to 170s. Like, this really wouldn't shock me if that unfortunately were to happen, because again, this is, of course, don't forget, still a substantial area of volume profile, right? This massive area right around the low 180s to high 170s, huge area of volume, right? So if we somehow do end up coming all the way down there, I do expect it to hold, number one, but that would be the next target I'd probably look for if we start losing that 200 level again. So essentially, don't lose 200. To make it simple, don't lose 200, and if we don't and we hold, I think Tesla's setting up pretty nicely moving forward from here on out. So we'll see how it plays out. There's still some caveats. Tesla's not out of the woodworks just yet, but obviously today's price is a little bit more, desirable, let's just say, compared to even yesterday's price when we were still sitting in, the 214 range or whatever, right? Just below it. So yeah, that's just the way I'm personally looking at it right now, right? That's just my current idea and my current philosophy. Again, on the daily chart, we still have that bearish stochastic flip, which, I'm still not a huge fan of. At least now it's kind of been playing out. So, it doesn't have to go all the way to the downside right away, but there's many times where it does or it doesn't, right? It kind of maybe goes somewhere near the middle, right? It doesn't have to go to all the way down to, oversold territory. It does not have to do that. But it is still cross bearish, and it is, on the bright side, no longer overbought. So it is cooling off, which is a good sign. It is a good sign to see. But, we could use a little bit more momentum, which again usually comes from having the smaller time frames start flipping bullish, right? So for instance, we have the 1 hour on stochastic rather on the 1 hour flipping bullish, right? And again, the only way the daily will ever flip bullish is if the smaller time frames flip bullish first, make the momentum go back up again essentially, and that will eventually flip over to the longer time frames, like the 4 hour, daily, weekly, right? That's just how it works naturally. So we'll see. The 1 hour is kind of lifting the heavy weights here, in my opinion, for the daily chart, which then is having the lifting the heavyweight for the weekly chart, and so on and so forth, if that makes sense. But yeah, so that's kind of the main way I'm looking at it, right? Going back to the daily chart, we have unfortunately, something I'm not a huge fan of is the BX trender, definitely making lower lows over here. Not ideal. Red band is starting to seep in. So there are still some signs of concern for the bullish momentum to, really get reignited, and the bearish momentum to falter, right? So that's why I don't think Tesla's fully out of the woodworks yet. And I still believe that there is a possibility we go a little bit lower to about 203, but I would definitely prefer that to hold, right? So just keep that in mind. I don't think Tesla necessarily will or needs to bounce tomorrow. It could. We have NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, that could reignite and just kind of potentially lift up all tech, or maybe even make Tesla go down a little bit lower, right? So we'll see how that plays out. NVIDIA earnings can be a pretty massive impact here. We'll see. But again, 203 can still be a target. And as long as that holds, I think moving up to about 230s should be the target moving into the next few weeks, assuming we continue holding that level and that range. And that'll be what I'll be personally eyeballing and looking for. In terms of options flow on Cheddar Flow here, by the way, Cheddar Flow, great option service. The link is down below with the discount code if you want to check it out for yourself for option services. But nonetheless, unfortunately, Tesla's options has been a little bit slow. Maybe I think there's a lot of the attention is focused on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is still pretty crazy, but Tesla's options has been a little bit slow. We have a 1.8 million call here, but it's a leap. I don't really look at leaps too much. I mean, 2026, whatever, right? Who cares? We already know bulls are bullish long term on Tesla. So that's not what we're really here for. On Black Box, however, it is signaling that Tesla has the most bearish flow today. It's sitting at just over 13 million. So, that's something to consider, but nothing too crazy, nothing to write home about in terms of options flow right now for Tesla. Now, also very quick in this video, I want to very quickly mention NVIDIA because I don't want to make a standalone video because nothing really much happened for NVIDIA. We're just kind of patiently waiting for earnings. But NVIDIA, TLDR, you wait for this break. Like I said in the actual NVIDIA video yesterday, you wait for the break. You have 123 to 130. One of these levels will have to break at some point. Just wait for them to break. You can play the chop in the middle, right? You pretty much buy the 123s, sell the 130s, 129s. That's kind of one way to play it, really, until one of these levels finally gives. Once one of these levels gives, we move up or down in that respective direction. 130 gives, we go to 135. 123 gives, we go to 120 to 117. That's just the way I look at it right now moving forward. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. That's kind of what I'm looking at overall, and so far eyeballing for Tesla and NVIDIA as well together, combined into this video, I guess you can say. But yeah, that's the main gist. Don't forget, Tesla, there are still more signs of concern, I guess, right? The market bias, we're barely hanging on to it. We are below the 21 EMA, but again, the 21 EMA is great. But the thing with this is like, we're kind of slicing through back and forth, left and right. So it's like, does it matter? Does it not matter? Like, is it that bad? Is it that good? It's obviously nice to be above it, but I don't think it's the one indicator to rule them all. So just because we're below it, I don't think it's like the end of the world or anything like that, right? Eventually you have to go back up above it anyways, right? It could be today, it could be tomorrow. So, take it as you will, right? I don't put as much emphasis as some people do, at least personally, into it. But we are dancing right around the median line of the bands, right? This is what I like more, though. We are dancing pretty much right around the median line of the bands. We are unfortunately closing below it, but nonetheless, we're pretty much hovering right around it. So we'll see how it plays out. And yeah, just not much more to say. Tesla is at a pretty important area. I want this level to hold. And if it does, I think we can see 230 to 235 within a few weeks. But all in all, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.